Hello, everybody, and welcome to your class again. Today, we are going to contrast two different structures. First, the structure that we use when we want to express routine, and second, the structure that we use when we want to describe temporary actions or actions that are happening at the moment of speaking. Are you ready? Let's begin. It's important to mention that we are going to focus the attention of the class in the time expressions that we can use when we are expressing routine or actions that are happening at the moment of speaking or temporary actions. Just look at the examples.
Every morning, I wake up at around 6:30 a.m. and make a cup of coffee. I enjoy reading the newspaper twice a week. Currently, my neighbor is redecorating his house. He is painting the walls a bright blue.
If you pay attention in the last examples, there are some time expressions that we use to be more specific in the frequency of our activities. Right now, in the screen, there are some time expressions that we use for routine. Let's start with every. With every, we are going to change the frequency, only changing the timing. For example, every 3 days, every 2 months, every year, every summer, every season, of course, depending on the frequency that you want to express. What about the expressions with once, twice, 3 times, 4 times? Also, you can express frequency, but now in a period specific of time. For example, once a week, 2 times a month, 3 times a year, 4 times a year also. Can you see? You can play with these expressions as much as you can. One more time, depending on the specific frequency that you want to express. What about at about, and at around? Usually we use at for expressing hours. For example, I usually wake up at 7 a.m. But it's also possible to say at around or at about when I am not pretty sure about the timings or I don't want to be or express a punctual timing. For example, I usually wake up about 7 a.m. or I usually wake up at around 7 a.m. Can you see? Now, let's see one example using the time expressions that we learned. I usually go on vacation with my family twice a year. Can you see? Twice a year is helping you to be specific of the times in a year that you go on vacation. In this part of the video, you will see how Mr. Obama describes his routine. If you pay attention in detail, some of the expressions that we learned right now are included in this routine.
I am a night owl. My usual day is I work out in the morning. I get to the office around 9, 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. Work till about 6:30 p.m. Have dinner with the family, hang out with the kids, and put them to bed about 8:30 p.m. And then I will probably read briefing papers or do paperwork or write stuff until about 11:30 p.m. And then I usually have about a half hour to read before I go to bed, about midnight, 12:30 a.m., sometimes a little later.
Now, let's talk about temporary actions or actions that are in progress at the moment of speaking. Remember that we need the verb to be and the verb in the ing form to express these activities. Look at the example. I am learning how to cook Mexican food. Now, let's check what time expressions can we add to complement my idea. As I explained before, I will need the same structure to express temporary actions and actions at the moment of speaking. The only difference is the time expressions that we are going to use. For example, if it's a temporary action, I can use currently, lately, this week, this summer, and you can emphasize different timings. For example, this vacation, this season. On the other hand, when I am talking about actions at the moment of speaking, I can say at the moment or right now. Let's check some examples. In the case of a temporary action, I can say, I am learning how to cook Mexican food this week, which means that only in this period of time I will be doing this activity. Another example can be I am currently learning how to cook Mexican food. I am expressing that in this moment of my life, I am learning how to cook Mexican food. Now, let's check one example if I want to express an activity that is happening at the moment of speaking. For example, I am learning how to cook Mexican food right now. Can you see the difference? Now that you know how to use these time expressions, it's your time to practice. See you next class.